It is February, and this is the start of what I like to call the beginning of the gardening season. For some, that's going to be your spring and summer garden. For others, that's a late winter, early spring garden. For us here in the Central Valley of California, it's kind of a mixture of both. And so in today's show, I want to share some of my best tips for growing a February garden here in the Central Valley of California. There's a lot of things that we can grow, but there's a lot of mistakes that I see a lot of gardeners make, and so I want to help you avoid those issues. So first off, if you're new here, my name is Audrey Crawford. I am the host here of the Audrey's Little Farm Show. I am a Central Valley, California gardener, and I have such a passion for gardening. My goal is to always break down complicated gardening advice into simple and actionable steps so that you can grow your best garden yet this season. So first off, if you are not in the Central Valley of California, you're still going to walk away with a lot of tips from today's show that are going to help you in your February and spring garden, and all the months to come. But if you too are a local Central Valley, California gardener, this is definitely for you. So a lot of years in February, the weather actually will warm up and it kind of feels like spring, and people usually just head right down to the local nursery, buy all of their summer plants, their tomatoes and their peppers, and then bring them home and plant them. And then we get hit with a frost and it wipes out the plants, or they might survive, but they're going to be weak and stunted. And so don't just go plant your warm season crop at the first sight of spring. Remember that warm season crops, meaning your squash, your cucumbers, tomatoes, peppers, they thrive in temperatures above 70 degrees during the day and when nighttime temperatures are 50 degrees and above. And so if you plant them before that time, no matter where you live, whenever that time frame comes, if you plant them when it's still too cold, they're not going to grow well. They may end up actually being stunted the entire season. Or, if a frost hits, you're going to have to go out and cover up those crops. And they're just overall not going to be very healthy. But the other issue with this time of year, and I say issue, but I don't really mean issue, but the mistake I see is sometimes a lot of gardeners right now are listening to gardeners that live in a much colder climate who have a lot of cold days ahead. And they go out and they plant longer maturing crops like Brussels sprouts that are a cool season crop and they take a long time to mature. But it's very likely that right now in February, if you go plant a cool season crop that takes a long time to mature, it's not actually going to reach maturity. As soon as the weather starts warming up and you have a few warm days in a row, it's going to trigger that plant to bolt and head to seed. And that just kind of is an issue and it's discouraging because it wasn't anything that you did. But when the days warm up too soon and that crop doesn't have enough cool days to mature and reach maturity in the ideal weather, it's just not going to happen. So you have to kind of pick and choose which crops you're going to grow in February. So my recommendation is to choose cool season crops that are quick to mature. This includes things like your lettuces, spinach, radishes, turnips. You could get away with even planting carrots again. The nice thing with your root crops is that they're growing beneath the soil, and in early spring the soil is still cool enough. Even if it starts warming up during the day, those crops are still going to grow pretty well because it's not too hot yet. But when you have your above ground crops like your broccoli and cauliflower, cabbage, things like that, for me, it's always been hit and miss. Sometimes when I plant right now in February, I end up getting a harvest from those crops. But then there's other years, depending on how the weather is, if we have too many warm days in a row, the crops just bolt and head to seed. So I try to stick with ones that I know mature quickly or that are root crops and growing beneath the soil. So even potatoes. Potatoes would be a great one to get planted right now. You could plant onions. In fact, if you actually want to learn more about growing potatoes, I have an upcoming event called the Spring Gardening Summit. It's an online event at the end of February. So if you're listening to this and it's past February, you may have missed it, but you can always get on the wait list for the next event. However, one of our speakers is teaching all about growing potatoes, and he is also here in California. He's had great success with tomatoes. His name is Jag Singh, and he's from Northern California, and he's going to be talking all about growing potatoes. We also have a few other California speakers, a few other speakers that are from California, and then we have speakers from across the US and Canada. So it's going to be a great event. There's so many incredible presentations, so definitely be sure to sign up for your free ticket if you're listening to this in real time. You can just check the link in the description. But anyway, so as you're thinking of what to plant right now in February, consider your root crops. They're going to grow well. There's still plenty of cool days ahead for those crops to thrive. When it comes to above ground crops, consider those that are quicker to mature. And then inside, go ahead and start thinking about getting your tomatoes and peppers started if you haven't already. Getting those seedlings started now in February is typically right on track for when I start my seedlings. If I start them too soon, then they end up being in pots for too long before I am actually able to transplant outside. So what I have found is the last few years we've had pretty cool spring weather, which in my opinion is great because we have such a long hot summer. But our average frost date, when you look it up, is March 15th. However, we have still been getting lots of frost past that over the last few years. And so I hold out and I don't plant my warm season summer garden until late April, sometimes even early May. And I will say it does not, make you get a harvest later. Those crops are just being planted when the weather's warmer and they end up growing faster and they're healthier. If you plant too soon and then that cold front does come in, or a freeze is coming in, or a storm, whatever it might be, you have to go out and protect those crops, which is more of a hassle. And it's very likely that they're just not going to grow that good. And so you have plenty of time to think about your summer garden. However, your tomatoes and peppers still take 6 to 8 weeks to mature. And so getting them started this month would be ideal. If you end up being late, you can always start seedlings a little bit later and then plant them a little bit later in spring. That's still great. There's really no date that's too late to start a summer garden here in the Central Valley of California. You can plant multiple plantings of multiple different summer crops all throughout the season, all the way from, early to late April, all the way through August and September, depending on the crop. So you're not too late. Definitely don't stress about getting it in the ground as soon as that first warm day comes. That's my best advice. But we have plenty of cool days still to take advantage of some of those cooler season crops that can still give us some great harvests right now while it's still cool enough. And so if you are either thinking about starting your first garden or you've had failed gardens in the past and you're looking to improve things, I did mention the Spring Gardening Summit. It's going to be a really helpful event. I definitely recommend signing up. But I have a few tips for you that I would love for you to consider for your garden. Things that might not help you in this season, but will help you in the seasons to come. So the very first thing is to really work on your soil health. Building healthy soil is not a quick fix or a quick process. It's something that takes time, but it's going to make a world of difference in the overall health of your garden. And so the way that you build healthy soil, no matter what soil you're starting with, whether it be heavy clay or kind of sandy or, a nice loamy mix right in the middle, whatever it is, the way that you amend your soil is first by growing plants in that soil. The actual best way to build healthy soil is from all of the microbes that are attracted to living plant roots. So you need living plant roots in the soil to help build that healthy soil microbiome. And excuse me. And I know it sounds a little bit counterintuitive because a lot of people won't plant because their soil is not healthy, but there's no way to really build healthy soil unless you plant plants. So plant crops, even if they don't grow that well, the fact that they are there with living roots in the soil is going to start building that healthy life underneath the soil, bringing that soil back to life, basically. You can plant cover crops. And the thing with cover crops is that if you plant them, you want to make sure you knock them down or mow them down, weed eat them down, whatever it is, before they go to seed. If you let them go to seed, it's going to just be a mess in your garden, and they're almost as if it's like a patch full of weeds. So you can plant them, and they're very, very beneficial for your soil. You just want to make sure that you get rid of that crop and mow it down before they head to seed. So you have to watch it really closely. And then you can add organic materials to the top of your soil. So anywhere you have bare soil, it should be covered ideally with living plants, but if at the very least, at least with mulch. So you could use shredded leaves from fall. You could use a thick layer of straw. You can use grass clippings, whatever it might be. Some people use pine needles. However, that can make your soil a little bit acidic. So I really like to stick to the shredded leaves and straw, but make sure all of your soil is covered. It's also going to help your soil retain moisture, and it's going to help keep your crops roots cooler in the summertime when that is really beneficial. But then all throughout the year, it's going to help suppress weeds. So it's just all around the best thing you could do. And what's nice is as that mulch starts breaking down, then it feeds your soil. And something really interesting that I learned is that when your soil is bare in the middle of summer, when it's really hot, the sun basically scorches the earth and kills all the living microbes in that top layer of soil. So if your soil is not covered, you're killing all the life in that soil. Deep down, there's still going to be life in your soil. But if you really want healthy soil, it needs to be covered. And so that's one of my best tips for you. But the process of building soil, I know can seem a little bit frustrating, but it is so worth it because when you have healthy soil, everything else gets easier and better. This last year in 2024, I had my most successful garden yet, but it took me 6 years to get there. For example, in the area where I had my tomatoes, I started that area of the garden in 2019. I had 2 years with 0 tomatoes. I had big plants, but a crop of nothing. By the 3rd year, we finally got some tomatoes, but then the plants were demolished by spider mites. The year after that, I believe, was the year my son was born, and so I just didn't have very much time for the garden, but we did have a good crop. And then in 2023, I decided to prune all of my plants very excessively, and that did not turn out well. Here in the Central Valley of California, where it's really hot in the summertime, so basically if you live anywhere with really hot summer temperatures, you are much better off to not prune your tomato plants because then it exposes the tomatoes to the sun. So those tomatoes are likely going to get sun scald and it stresses out your plants more. You really want that extra foliage to protect your fruit. So don't over prune, and you can really just hardly not prune at all, and you're going to be just fine. However, my point is that I basically killed my tomato crop by over pruning, and that was in 2023. But throughout all this time, at least I still had crops out there growing in that soil. And despite what a lot of people say about not growing crops in an area because they use up all the nutrients from the soil, that is more on a large scale farm. Think big commercial ag. When they plant an entire field with corn and they do that over and over and over again, that is using up a lot of nutrients from the soil. But in a home garden, it is really not the same. You're not using up all the nutrients in the soil. The plants that you're actually growing are helping build that soil because they're bringing in all kinds of different microbes that are around the root zone, and they might take some nutrients from the soil, but not like what you think, not what you hear as it relates to commercial ag. So just keep that in mind. And the next thing is that planting a diversity of crops in a close proximity is so beneficial. So the reason that you want a variety of different plant families in a similar area is that all these different plant families attract different microbes in the soil. And so the more diversity you have, the more microbes you have, which in turn makes those plants grow healthier. And I'm really kind of keeping this at a very basic surface level on purpose, just to not get too deep. But just if you can just understand that having more plants from more plant families in a close area helps, that's going to start improving your soil. So as you plan your garden this year, remember that cool season crops, meaning your brassicas and your lettuces, root crops, things like that, they thrive when daytime temperatures are below 70. And they can even have nighttime temperatures basically down to freezing, and they're going to be just fine. But your warm season crops, your tomatoes, peppers, squash, cucumbers, things like that, they want warm temperatures. So 70 degrees and above during the day, 50 degrees and above at night. Don't plant prior to that. And so, sort your crops and your planting times, judging, based on the forecast, based on the specific crop, and then work on building your soil. It's only going to help you in the long run, and it is a work in progress, but every season that you work on building that soil structure and building up that soil life is really going to help you in the long run. And don't forget to sign up for the Spring Gardening Summit. It is going to be incredible. We have 20 plus speakers, all teaching on various topics from growing potatoes to seed starting, seed saving. We have a few speakers teaching on attracting pollinators and keeping weeds away. And then we even have some incredible presentations on growing your own herbs for medicine. It's going to be so good. So get your free ticket. Feel free to reach out if you ever have any questions relating to your garden. I'm always happy to help, and I will see you in the next episode.